Hey guys, your captain is back.
Hey,
Today, we're gonna exclusively talk about the amazing world of Gumball for the first time on this channel. Even though I watched some episodes during my childhood, I overlooked this show for a very long time to the profit of SpongeBob SquarePants. But the amazing world of Gumball is also an amazing cartoon, and arguably the best cartoon among the ones that started in the last 20 years. It's full of clever subversions, funny jokes, various characters, and creative plots. It took the satire of the nuclear family model from The Simpsons and the general creativity and wacky elements from SpongeBob, then it mixed both of them for a unique show with varied jokes and plots. And to celebrate its return in 2025, I thought it would be nice to finally dedicate a video to this amazing show.
pun totally not intended.
So today, we're gonna rank all the season's opener from the amazing world of Gumball. This is going to be fairly short compared to some other videos I made, since there are only 6 seasons in this show, not counting the upcoming 7th season. And we're working with gold here. All the episodes range from okay to straight up fantastic. In fact, in this ranking, there are no D tiers. This just goes to show how genuinely consistent the general quality of these episodes is. So without further ado, let's start with a C tier.
Oh no, the kids have turned into school supplies! Or am I still dreaming?
As I just said, this ranking isn't going to have any episodes that I consider to be straight up bad. But even in consistent rankings like this one, we have to put an episode in last place. And I don't know how controversial this take's gonna be, but I'm not really that much of a fan of the return, and it was an easy pick for the last place. This is the first episode of Season 4, and it lets us assume that between the end of Season 3 and this episode, there was a summer break at Elmore, given the first scene of it, and more generally, the story. Because in this episode, it's the first day of school, so Nicole has told Richard to take Gumball, Darwin, and Anais to school since Nicole had to do a night shift which prevented her from doing so. However, Richard oversleeps, so he has to hurry up before they end up being late. But he can't find them in the house, so during the whole episode, he goes to various places while being in a constant panic as he can't find them anywhere.
Right, so if the shopping is in the beds, the kids must be... in the trap!
He also starts to be insecure about whether he's a good father or not while searching for his kids. So there's a major problem with this episode that prevents it from being higher on the list. It's just too simple to be really engaging or memorable. The first part is just Richard tries to find out where he left his children, only for him not to find them and to panic while wondering if he really is a good father.
Well, at least he doesn't strangle his children.
And in the second part, there's a bit more action, but it's still rather mundane for the standards of the amazing world of Gumball. Basically, Richard understands that he mistakenly left his kids in the ball pit in the Elmore Mall. He goes to that place. Gary explains to him that they had to get rid of it for safety issues, so he decided to export it to another country. The truck that has the ball pit in its cargo rolls away from the mall's parking lot, but the driver doesn't notice that the kids are in it, so Richard has to take his own car to chase that truck and save his children. That chase scene has a bit more action, and it's heartwarming to see Richard being disinvested into being a good father. He's not just a lazy guy who doesn't give a shit about his family and doesn't mind abusing his children half of the time like Homer Simpson or Peter Griffin. He genuinely cares for Gumball, Darwin, and Anais, and he actually wants to be a good father and a role model for his kids.
I am a good father!
But this scene is kinda boring. I usually enjoy car chase scene in cartoons, but this one is just kind of stale and a bit too long. Then, there's another simplistic scene in a container yard in a harbor. Richard finds the container where the kids are locked, and after brainstorming ideas for saving them, he has the idea to use another truck to carry his container to the school and free Gumball, Darwin, and Anais. It finally opens up when he approaches the school, making the three kids slide on the bars in the whole school.
Did you make it sound weird on purpose?
Yeah. I won't deny this. So Gumball, Darwin, and Anais slide all the way to the other side of the school where Nicole is here to pick them up, ending the episode and revealing that Richard spent Gumball's whole day of school trying to search his kids and that they weren't even here for the first day. The return isn't bad per se, but it's too simple to be memorable. Most of the good things it does, like the car chase scene, has already been done better in other episodes of the show, or have been rehashed so often that it's not even fun anymore. And the plot itself isn't that creative, nor the shenanigans that Richard goes through, which is a bummer for the first episode of the season compared to what awaits us. Come to think about it, I think that this shouldn't have been the first episode of season 4. The very next episode, The Nemesis, would have been a much better season opener in every way. This is an episode centered around Rob, which fits considering that season 4 ends with the first part of a 2-part episode about this character as well, and its tone is more intense, which would have made it a much stronger opener. In contrast, the return is a bit too simple, too repetitive, and doesn't have enough funny jokes or creative ideas to compensate. Easily the worst season opener of the show. But now, we're already off to the B-tier episodes, so hopefully we can already go up from here.
Well, either way, I can't wait to meet her. She's coming! I mean, I could wait a little.
This episode already fixes the main problem of the return, because this time, it's a bit more unique. It's a flashback episode, meaning that it happens before the main series. 4 years ago, in fact, as this one's about the birth of Anais. This one starts with a scene where the Wattersons speedrun through the hospital for their new child to be born. They have so little time that Nicole gives birth while Richard is driving to the hospital, so Gumball and Darwin get to meet their little sister in the car. Except that she quickly turns out to be a demon child for unknown reasons.
Very good. Is that Mommy? And Mr. Daddy? And where are we? Oh, we're the flowers? Oh, right.
She also elaborates plans so Nicole and Richard don't notice that she's the one getting violent. So Gumball and Darwin have to find ways to prevent her from causing any damage, while escaping her violent actions too. So this is already way better than the previous episode. Because first, it takes place 4 years ago, and then it gives us a surprising enough plot twist. This episode reveals that Anais used to be a demon child when she was born, due to reasons that we still don't know to this day. This is a very good idea to start what was originally the final season of the entire show until it was renewed for a 7th season a couple of years later. But the problem is that this idea doesn't go anywhere beyond Anais being a demon child.
So it's just a creepypasta then.
Because this just leaves more questions in the end. Why was Anais evil when she was a baby? What allowed her to not be evil anymore? Did Nico and Richard even found out about this? Questions that would have been interesting to explore in this episode if the writers cut out some scene, replaced another season 6 episode with one that explores these questions, or even if they made The Rival a 2-part episode. Instead, Anais is seemingly in danger, so Gumball and Darwin go to save her, and we have an action scene in a junkyard. And while it would have been interesting in season 1, at this point in the series, action scenes are so common that this one doesn't even feel special. It just feels like filler that could have been removed to instead explore the questions that I talked about earlier, even if the creators' intentions were to keep a part of mystery, since as you know, season 6 was intended to remain the show's last season for a long time. After this, Darwin narrowly saves Gumball from the furnace, and then they look for Anais. They find her, and we realize that she wasn't in danger. The episode suggests that it was a ploy to kill them. But Gumball and Darwin are just happy that she's alive, so they hug her. She then tries to say her first words.
Yes, Gumball, it's me. She's trying to say my name. Yes? Gumball did it.
Nico and Richard come to the junkyard, ending the episode. This ending is kind of funny, but also really predictable. considering that we didn't see any development about Anais' relationship with Gumball and Darwin in the entire episode. So it just comes across as a sour note, because in the end, we won't know how Anais became good or anything. But this episode is still good though. It's got some good jokes, like the part where Darwin thinks he's drowning in his aquarium even though he's a mutant goldfish, or the first minute of the episode. The idea of Anais being a demon child during her early childhood is honestly really clever, and goes well with how intelligent she is. It's too bad that the episode doesn't explore these concepts enough and just leaves more questions than answers at the end. I hope they explore these themes in the upcoming season 7, because with Anais being a demon child in her early childhood, you could really create great plots. Next, we have the first episode in the series, the DVD. And while it's a pretty simple episode, it's also a pretty good introduction to what the Amazing World of Gumball tries to show you. The plot is simple, but it works. Gumball has to bring back a DVD to the rental store. However, while trying to clean it, he mistakenly makes it fall down the sink, which destroys it. So with Darwin, Gumball tries to find a way to pay the fine without having to tell Nicole about it. This is a pretty simple plot, but it already tells us everything we need to know to understand what the Amazing World of Gumball is. It already had jokes with various types of humor, from visual humor to English humor, various creative situations that come from a seemingly basic plot, and the token intense action scene in the end. It also introduces 3 of the main characters as well, as they're all in character. Gumball is already his mischievous and clumsy self, and Darwin is already the more innocent character of the bunch.
Gumball! You wouldn't steal a car, you wouldn't steal a woman's purse, you wouldn't steal a cell phone! Piracy is stealing!
Meanwhile, Nicole is already her caring but ridiculously powerful self, and
Oh hey, they introduced Penny's parents before Penny herself.
I must say, this is a really good first impression for the show too. It's not as crazy as the other episodes that came after this one, even in a season that's a bit more laid back than the others, but it still does the job well. It already manages to follow the classic formula of a SpongeBob light show in a good way, as it gives us a lot of funny jokes and creative situations while sticking to a simple plot, which in this case is finding a way to get $25. The different ideas that Gumball and Darwin have to pay that fee are varied and creative, and the ways these plans backfire are funny too.
Why am I looking at the floor?
Okay, boys, so how did the test go?
It also has a good moral about how you should always tell the truth to your parents and not be afraid of the worst when you do so, because a good parent will always love their child unconditionally in spite of anything they do. Overall, despite being a simple episode, the DVD is a really enjoyable and creative one that already has good jokes, characters who fit their personalities, a lot of action, creative ideas, and charming interactions. The only reason it's not higher is because while this one's pretty simple, the episodes that are above it are all more creative and ambitious than the DVD. Speaking of which, we're now entering the 8th year.
El gran final de la Casa de las Lágrimas!
Despite a seemingly simple premise, the remote manages to use everything that come out of it with the Gumball sauce to create a fun, memorable, and creative episode that never fails to surprise you. And it's remarkable how they managed to tell so many various jokes with this premise, because the story can be written on a sticky note on the fridge. The Watersons argue over who can have the TV remote because they all want to see a different show that airs at 8 p.m. That's it. Once they introduce this, 1 minute into the episode, we're already thrown into the action as the arguing gets a bit violent.
And just to make sure no one changes the channel, I've hidden the remote.
This is a gag-driven episode. As soon as the main plot is introduced, the rest of the episode just bombards you with jokes and visual gags. This kind of episode is comparable to SpongeBob episodes like Squidward the Unfriendly Ghost, Wet Painters, or Chocolate with Nuts. The remote also has its feel where the plot is simple, but it's the actual jokes that are varied, creative, and funny, which allows them to make this episode memorable. From Gumball and Darwin being so lazy that they treat the idea of walking to the TV as a dangerous mission in space, to Richard speaking Spanish, and of course, his riddle.
The remote is in the valley betwixt two hills. Its name begins with a B, ends with two T's, and has you in the middle. And you'll never find it!
Oh, I know this one! I know this one!
Dude, there's no remote here.
To Darwin forgetting he and Gumball even wanted to watch the same thing, to the chase and the fight in the last act, to the plot twist involving Anais that is presented in a ridiculously dramatic way that it ends up funny, even if it's just for two kids to watch the show they want to watch. This episode is full of amazing gags, different ways to surprise the viewer, and lots of different kinds of subversion. All the jokes land, despite them being very diverse. The remote is a wild ride from start to finish, and with a simple premise, it manages to showcase a wide array of various jokes that land and master subversion, visual humor, and English humor perfectly. This was an amazing way to start season 2, which was a point where this show started to get really weird.
Though, after seeing how far the Wildersons take their fight over a remote, I tell them to seek family therapy after this.
I don't know, that didn't go so well when The Simpsons tried this. But anyway, now we get to the S-tier episodes, the ones that I consider to be among the best in the show.
I have a very specific set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a very long career in real estate.
The Kids is not only an episode that has an excellent meta premise, but also an episode that thrives on being deeply relatable on so many levels. In this episode, just after roasting their parents for their old age, Gumball and Darwin find out their own voice of drinking and start to panic because they don't understand anything about this. But the true genius behind this scenario is that season 3 is when Gumball and Darwin's voice actors changed for the first time, and The Kids is the last episode where the first ones voice the characters. This is why this episode is genius. During the whole episode, Gumball and Darwin search for the cure, and when they understand that they're getting older and that there's no going back, they try to come to terms with reality.
No. Only a small percentage of the world doesn't age. Mostly people on TV.
Of course, in the end, Gumball and Darwin's voices revert to their young tone, as this is the moment where the new voice actors voice them for the first time. But you really gotta admire how Gumball and Darwin's first voice actors really got a farewell episode when they became too old to voice Gumball and Darwin, as their voice were now way too low to fit them. The creators really wouldn't let them go without making one final episode to bid them farewell before introducing the new ones. And I gotta say, what a way to say goodbye, because the second half of this episode is almost a musical, with 2 songs that are quite long, and one of them is about Gumball and Darwin making the most of their childhood, knowing that soon it'll be over, as they sing about how they enjoy it while it lasts.
We enjoy it while we can. We enjoy it while we're kids. We enjoy it while there's still time to make the most of it.
With the varied visuals, the catchy tune, it's the perfect way for the voice actors to go, as this is the last time we hear their voices properly in the show, so it hits even harder. So first, there's the quality of being a farewell to the show's very first voice actors, with a clever metaphor with voice acting in general, because I remind you that in the lore, the Gumball universe is a show. But we also have some very relatable elements. I think that in our teenage years, we all had that moment wherein it's in middle school or high school where we truly realize that we're not kids anymore and that the carefree years of our childhood are permanently over. It can come progressively if you're lucky, but some people like me are unlucky enough for something to hit them right in the face and truly make them suddenly realize that we're not kids anymore. Whether it's depressing news like wars or
Now stop here or you'll get political, bro.
parents getting a divorce, harsh bullying, being in an accident, a loved one passing away, or even bigotry if you're in the minority, a lot of things can really be a wake-up call, as we realize the world is not as carefree as you thought when you were a kid. And Gumball and Darwin realize this, and they end up accepting it in the end, and to look at the glass half full. They think of all the things they will be able to do as adults that they couldn't do as children. Now, yeah. You may think that the ending where Gumball and Darwin's voice turn young again might ruin this aspect, as instead of embracing becoming an adult, they magically become kids again. But first, they didn't ask for it. They were ready to become adults, even if they didn't like it. And since they accepted it, you can see their voice being back to normal as another metaphor about not letting go of your childlike spirit. Sure, we're not children anymore, and it can be hard to accept that you'll never be as carefree as you were when you were a kid. But that doesn't mean we can still be kids at heart, retain our sense of wonder when we see something beautiful, our curiosity about the world, our cheerful spirit, and our creativity, or that our good memories of our childhood have to go away. This is a beautiful message that we should honestly all apply to our lives, because I honestly think it just makes you feel better. And you know what? I can almost say I felt better after watching this episode thanks to this. For the farewell that the writers bid to Gumball and Darwin's voice actors, and the beautiful metaphor about growing up but still being a child at heart, The Kiss is certainly a phenomenal episode. But there's still one season opener that I like more.
You eat old car parts? No, hold on. Rob is messing with your potato?
The rerun is easily one of the best episodes in the Amazing World of Gumball due to its genius use of the meta elements in the show. One thing I can remind you one more time before jumping in is that this is one of these shows where we know that the universe is part of the show. But what makes it different from other meta jokes in other shows is that this time, the concept is actually used regularly in a couple of episodes to make for interesting plots, like in The Kiss that we saw earlier, or The Vegging. And this time, the rerun is actually the second part of a story told through 2 episodes. So warning if you want to watch this arc by yourself, because I'll spoil it entirely here. In the season 4 finale, The Disaster, Rob, the main villain of the show, got a remote that can control the universe around him, just like the remotes you use for TV since the lore of Gumball is a show.
Can you give examples? This is getting confusing.
Okay, in this episode, his main goal is to destroy Gumball and everyone he loves, to get revenge from him, making him the villain of the show. He makes subtitles appear under Gumball so Darwin believes that he hates him. He turns the parental filter off so Nicole and Richard argue and break up. And he makes the whole world go dark with the brightness setting so Gumball ends up looking like he kissed Sarah and his crush Penny thinks he's cheating on her. In the end, after a fight, Rob sent him to the Void, a place where all errors of the world stay, just like when someone makes a show, not all ideas will make the cut, and some of them can end up being lost forever, sometimes becoming lost media or even being found. But Gumball managed to use the remote to go back to the start of the day with a rewind button. That's when the disaster ended. So the first scene of the rerun is very similar to the first scene in The Disaster, until Gumball flashbacks and realizes he already lived this day, and that Rob is gonna try to destroy him and everyone he loves one more time. But this time, he knows what his nemesis is gonna do, as he actually lived through this day. So the genius in this episode is that the main character has control on what's gonna happen this time, as once again, he already lived through this. He tries to warn his family about what Rob wants to do, and in the process, we get the nice callback to the return as well.
What do we do with Mom and Dad? Exactly what they do with us!
But after mistakenly rewinding the time for his parents and turning them into babies, that makes Anais and Darwin disappear. And then, enraged, he tries to hit Rob, but he then makes Gumball push Penny down the first story of the mall. But before this can kill her, Rob pauses the world. They go back to the fight of the disaster, and Gumball's sarcastic reactions due to the fact that he actually lived through this are pretty funny.
You know what? Save it. I've heard it all before. Poor little me, blah, blah, blah. You never wanted to be the villain, yada, yada. I made you this way, etc., etc.
But this time, Gumball wins the fight and pushes Rob in the void. However, he doesn't feel good about himself and realizes that since he condemned Rob to an eternity in the void, he has become as villainous as his nemesis, so he decides to go in there to save him and fix his mistake. Why though? He has the remote. He could just rewind to fix everything. Well, you see, it's explained by, you don't understand, it's actually, but, Rob uses this occasion to fight Gumball again so he can make him disappear. This time, he manages to get the remote, and just like Darwin in the ice, Gumball starts to disappear. But then, Rob felt guilty too, so he uses the rewind button to go back to the moment where they were about to fight. They both make up. Almost.
Hey, it takes a big man to admit he was wrong.
And it takes a bigger man not to rub it in the first man's face. I am not that big a man.
After this, Rob uses the rewind function again to go back to the moment when he got the remote, fixing everything in the process, but this time he destroys the weapon as the water sinks past in the car, ending the episode. So what allowed this episode to be number 1 is the actual concept of it. First, it chooses the concept of the Gumball universe being a show in the best way possible, using all the functions of a remote for creative ideas like the subtitles, the channel button, the eject button, the mute button, or even the concept of the void. Then, the mere idea of the main character reliving a previous episode and actually remembering what happened in it, which allows them to make different choices to save their future, is amazing in itself. And finally, it's nice to see Gumball and Rob make up in the end, especially for Rob. Even though he's Gumball's nemesis and he tried to destroy him and everyone he loved, he was considerate enough to realize how kind Gumball is to save him even after everything he's done, and he returns the favor by going back in time to save Gumball from disappearing completely. He also recognizes the error of his ways and go back in time to fix everything, while accepting Gumball as a friend now.
Wait, does that mean we won't be friends anymore?
Yeah, I guess none of this will ever have happened and things will go back to normal.
I look forward to being your enemy again in the future?
Me too.
Rob becoming a bit nicer than the last time is very cute to see, especially since even though he hates Gumball, the latter still cares for him, and Rob ended up realizing it, and he now likes him a bit more than before. And more than that, now that he realizes that Gumball cares for him, Rob cares for Gumball too. This makes Rob more than just a villain, as you can see that he can have a heart, which kind of puts you on the way to the final revelation for season 6. Even though we're almost 2 seasons away from it at this point in the series, and it's not even the finale anymore.
Yeah, but you know, the finale was never the finale of the show anyway, so why bother with this?
This video is already over, and this time I don't have many things to say. The Amazing World of Gumball is, just as the title says, amazing, and these season's openers often get to be among the better episodes in the series, as the creators always try their best to make the viewers excited for what's to come in their respective season. I'm really looking forward to the new Gumball season, and I'm sure it's going to be a banger as well, with the trailer already being exciting and mysterious as itself. And since I really love this show, I'll probably be doing a video where I rank all the season finales in the near future. But for now, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.
Bye bye!